Hi, I'm Anya with Prepare and Nourish. Welcome back to my channel where I share nourishing traditional foods for everyday life. Today I'm bringing a meal to a friend recovering from surgery, and I wanted it to be something truly nourishing. Simple, comforting, easy to digest, light but satisfying. I'm making Ciorba, a traditional Romanian sour soup, and I'm actually using a recipe my friend shared with me many years ago. She has Romanian roots and this is her version. If you look up Ciorba, there are many different versions online. Different proteins, different vegetables, different ways of souring the soup. Some are creamy, others are not. This is a recipe just like any other. Everybody has their own version of it. This just happens to be the one I was taught with and the one that I keep coming back to. In addition to the soup, I'm also bringing fresh milled flour bread and apple muffins. Nothing fancy, just nourishing familiar foods that feel good during recovery. We're going to get started with the bread since that requires some rising time, but the whole meal comes together with very minimal hands-on time. So let's get started. We're going to start by milling our berries first. I'm using a blend of kamut and hard white wheat, and I'll have the exact ratios and full recipe linked in the blog post below. For the dough, I'm using instant yeast, so I'm adding warm water to a large bowl, followed by the yeast and salt. Give that a quick whisk, just enough to get everything mixed together, then add in all the freshly milled flour. If you've been with me for any length of time, you know I've really been loving baking with fresh milled flour. And this is another one of those nutrient-dense recipes that feels both simple and deeply satisfying. Real food that fits into everyday life without needing a lot of extra effort. The dough is meant to be a little wetter than typical bread dough. Fresh milled flour is thirsty, so it will absorb moisture as it rests. If it feels too loose, you can sprinkle in a bit more flour, and if it feels stiff, add a splash of water. You're looking for a wet but workable dough. Stir until a shaggy dough forms, cover the bowl with a towel and set it aside. After about 20 minutes, we'll start stretch and folds. Gently lift one side of the dough up and fold it over toward the center. Rotate the bowl and repeat until you've gone all the way around. Meanwhile, we're going to get started on our soup. To a medium pot, I added about 1.5 pounds of chicken thighs, skin on, bone in. A few bay leaves, some peppercorns, and obviously salt. This will be the base of the soup. Cover with water and turn it on medium-high heat. As I mentioned in the beginning, there are many versions of Ciorba, and one of the most consistent flavor profile between all of the versions that I've come across online is celery. And so you have, like in today's recipe, we're using, not only are we using the celery ribs, we're using the celeriac root, which is the root of the celery plant. And it looks like this. It has a very like a very rough skin, and so we would have to peel all of this, and it would expose to like a very pungent, very aromatic celery, almost like parsnip texture. I love recipes where we're actually using everything from leaf to the root. So when you think of celery, this is what it looks like, right? And when my friend shared this recipe with me, she also gave me like a packet of seasoning, and it's not really seasoning, it's more like an herb, and it's called lustian, which is this is what it looks like. And interestingly enough, the fresh leaves of this herb actually look very much like celery leaves. Now, I like to make my recipes as easy and the ingredients to make them as accessible as possible to, like, just like a regular consumer. The ingredients that you would find at, like, your local grocery store, Kroger, Safeway, Sprouts, whatever. So this, I'm thinking you could probably pick up like at your local European market. However, it's not necessary. You could replicate that same flavor profile by using, like I said, using the root, the celery root, And we're using the leaves of the celery as well. So we are going to use a few ribs of the celery, but I feel like there's a lot of flavor in the leaves themselves. There's a lot of variables in this soup, and that's okay. Like, that's why I like to make sure that the ingredients are accessible to you, and just, available to you. While the chicken cooks, I like to prep all the vegetables for the soup. Orange and green bell peppers, a few parsnips, and celeriac root. The skin on celeriac looks pretty rugged and rough, almost intimidating, but it's completely normal. Once you peel it back, the inside is smooth, flavorful, and perfect for soups like this. And it's really neat because it actually retains the texture no matter how long you cook it. We'll also add a few carrots and some celery ribs, and make sure to get plenty of celery leaves. Let's not forget to check on the bread and do another stretch and fold. With each round, the dough will become more elastic and easier to work with, but as you can see, it still rips when I stretch it, so it's not quite ready. Continue with the stretch and folds, cover and set aside for the dough to continue to develop. Meanwhile, we can work the soup. Once the chicken comes to a boil, I'll lower the heat and let it simmer gently until fully cooked. Anytime I need a quick broth with some meat, I almost always reach for the skin-on bone-in chicken thighs. They're flavorful, cook quickly, and have plenty of healthy fats. So I'll set that aside until the chicken thighs are cool enough to handle and pick off all the meat. While that's cooling, we'll start on the mirepoix, which is just a simple blend of onions, carrots, and celery that we saute to build flavor. This soup uses a lot of vegetables, and that's very intentional. Vegetables add depth and body to the broth, but they're also one of the most budget-friendly ways to stretch a pot of soup and still make it feel filling and satisfying. Root vegetables like parsnips, celeriac, and carrots in particular work really well here. They're gentle on the gut, easy to digest when cooked, and add natural sweetness without overpowering the soup. And I like to chop and dice all the vegetables first, so once everything goes into the pot, the soup comes together quickly. It keeps the process calm and efficient, and it's a great way to get a nourishing meal on the table without relying on expensive cuts of meat. Last check on the bread. By the final stretch and fold, it should feel smoother, stretchier, and less sticky, though still slightly wet. Once the stretch and folds are done, cover the dough and let it rise until doubled, about 30 to 60 minutes. But back to the vegetables. When I'm dicing, I aim for the smallest cut I can manage with a sharp knife and a steady cutting board. Smaller pieces make the soup feel more delicate, the flavors blend better, and you end up with more vegetables in every spoonful. And of course, don't forget those celery leaves. That's major flavor there. To a large soup pot, heat avocado oil. Then start adding all the diced veggies and saute until softened and aromatic. While the vegetables are cooking down, it's time to shape the bread. The dough should have doubled by now. Lightly flour your work surface and gently turn it out. Flour your hands and fold the edges toward the center to create a seam. Then flip it seam side down. Gently tuck the bottom edges to create tension across the top of the loaf. I don't do this perfectly, but it works perfectly every time. Place the shaped dough onto parchment paper and let it rest for about 20 minutes. Meanwhile, place your Dutch oven into the oven and preheat to 450 degrees. You want that Dutch oven nice and hot when the dough goes in. But back to the soup. While the root vegetables are still sauteing and bringing out flavor, I'll dice the bell peppers. I add the bell peppers towards the end because I don't like to overcook them. And any cores and skins I add to a Ziploc bag full of veggie scraps for broth making later. To the sauteed vegetables, add the Nourishing seasoning if you have that available, and if not, totally fine. And stir all of that to combine. By now, the chicken has cooled enough where I can pick up all the meat. Now is also a good time for me to strain the broth directly into my soup pot, and I want to bring this to a gentle boil. The bread is ready to go into the oven, so I carefully lower it into the hot Dutch oven. Cover with the lid and bake at 450 degrees for 35 minutes. When the soup has come to a boil, add about 2 cups of thin macaroni. I used vermicelli here, but you can also use cooked spaghetti squash if you wanted this completely grain and gluten-free. Season with salt and check for flavor. The last thing I add is a squeeze of fresh lemon juice. It really wakes everything up, adds brightness, and balances out the richness of the broth. Then a generous handful of fresh parsley, and I don't skimp here. And just like that, the soup is done. It's hearty but still light, deeply flavorful, and so nourishing. Before I pack it up, I'm definitely pouring myself a bowl to enjoy. By now, the bread is done and ready to be packed up. And the last thing on my list are the Kamut apple muffins. Here, I'm using 1 cup of freshly milled kamut flour and 1 cup of fresh milled soft white berries. To that, I'll add a teaspoon of baking powder, a half a teaspoon of baking soda, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt and some cinnamon. Again, the link to recipe will be in captions. In a separate bowl, whisk 2 eggs, 1 overripe banana, 1/4 cup of yogurt, 1/3 cup of avocado oil, and whisk all of that together. And I forgot to mention to add about a 1/4 cup of coconut sugar and a 1/4 cup of brown sugar to the dry mixture. Add the dry ingredients to the wet mixture and stir to combine. While that fresh milled flour is absorbing moisture, we'll dice the apples and chop the pecans. Then just scoop the batter into cupcake liners and top with the crumbled topping. I had extra topping in the freezer that I wanted to use up, but you can make some by combining half a cup of flour with 2 tablespoons coconut sugar and a 1/4 cup of butter and a little bit of cinnamon. The muffins are finishing up in the oven, and I'm going to pack up everything else. Mason jars are my go-to for transporting soup. They're sturdy, they seal really well, and they keep everything contained without leaks. I like to let the soup cool a bit before filling them, then leave a little space at the top so they travel safely without any mess. I'll be honest, I didn't really know what I was doing here, but you know what? It didn't matter. What mattered was that the bread made it safely to our friends, and these apple muffins were absolutely delicious. Sometimes it's not about doing things perfectly, it's just about showing up with good food and sharing it. I packed the muffins into a lonely, lidless Tupperware and lined it with a cute kitchen towel. I never expect to get the container back, but somehow and unfortunately, it always finds its way home. And there you have it, a complete, nourishing meal fit for recovery. Simple to make, easy to eat, and meant to bring comfort. If you'd like the full recipe with exact measurements, make-ahead tips, and freezing instructions, you'll find it on my website at prepareandnourish.com. And if you like this kind of real food cooking, you can subscribe here on YouTube so you'll catch future recipes, both for everyday family meals and for feeding others. Eat well, be nourished, and I'll see you soon.